green jacket on again? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Monday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
This is Carlin on 98.7 ESPN.
Yeah, it is. A little after 8, 800-919-3776. Carlin. When I read Ian Begley, I love Ian Begley, does a great job covering the Knicks, but I get angry sometimes when I see sentiments like what I saw today. And that is this. The Knicks have considered trading for Russell Westbrook, but they're being very careful in terms of what they would give up, because they're afraid that they're going to need to hold on to things for later on, make other trades. Look, I get that, okay? But that's not a reason right now to keep you from making a deal. It's absolutely silly to put yourself in a position to not go get a great player who's making $47 million a year for the next 3 years, and you're worried about what you're going to give up. You can take the money on. That's obviously a huge benefit to the Houston Rockets. Relevance is what you crave. You know, you are at a position where people want to see the Knicks go and build and do it the right way and develop their own players, and they've got 7 picks in the next 4 drafts. I mean, that's all fine, okay? That's great. What it ultimately means, though, is that if you have to give up a first-round pick to go get Russell Westbrook, and it's the 8th overall pick, that should never keep you from doing it. Let's be clear about a couple of things. I would not call myself a basketball analyst, but I'm comfortable saying this. Russell Westbrook is infinitely better than any player the Knicks have had in the last 10 years. And I know who I'm including in that. Easily, if not the last 15 to 20. And he's 32 years old. And I get it. He got hurt in the playoffs. Ooh, he's breaking down. Stop it. Stop it. This is a dynamic star in this league. And if you're going to try to sell me on the notion that he is on the back end, you don't have to sell me very hard, but he's not 35 like Chris Paul. Chris Paul would have been somebody that you go to get if you felt like you were very close to winning. But bringing Chris Paul here does not essentially make it an attractive destination for somebody else to come and join you. If you have Westbrook here, it may. And you're going to look at it, well, why did it fall apart in Houston? Well, look who else it fell apart for in Houston. Chris Paul, who Harden wanted traded, and Paul is regarded as one of the top leaders in the game, and Harden wanted Dwight Howard traded when he could still play. I mean, and now Westbrook wants out after 1 year. Maybe. And I advise you to read the piece in The Athletic regarding about how it all fell apart in Houston, because it's an outstanding piece. I believe Shams wrote it, Sharania, and a couple of others were involved in writing it. But it absolutely breaks it down brilliantly. Russell Westbrook demands accountability from teammates. He wants to win. And I know you're saying, well, why would he want to come to the Knicks? He wants out of that situation. And if he gets here, and they've got these picks, and they've got R.J. Barrett, and they've got Mitchell Robinson, and they've got guys that he feels like can develop around him, and they can get better, and they can do it in short order if they could bring in a couple of more players, which they could financially. Guys would want to come here. It's more attractive. It's about making this place an attractive site for free agents. And if you don't think that Russell Westbrook immediately makes the Knicks a much more attractive place to be, you're out of your mind. The Knicks, the Garden, they have held no meaning to this generation of players. None. Zero. So the only way to go and get someone to buy in is to forcibly bring him here. He wants out of Houston. One of the best situations or best possibilities for him to actually get traded is the Knicks? Well, then you get him here, and you get him to talk to his buddies, and you get West to start selling it, and you get Leon Rose to start selling it. He's a star. The Knicks don't have stars. He's one star. And you know what stars do in the NBA? They attract other stars. This guy is not close to done. If you want to tell me he will be in 3 years, that's fine. Can you tell me that if you bring Westbrook here, the Knicks can't build a winner in 3 years? Of course they can. But now they're going to worry about what they're giving up because they may give up too much. They're not going to have to give up too much. If they're one of the best options that Houston has, they're probably going to end up giving up, if it's the 8th overall pick, so be it, and maybe a little bit more, maybe an expiring contract or two. But if it's any of that, that's fine. Don't worry about trading away 100 assets for him. If you have to do that, it obviously wouldn't make enough sense. And you'd be a sucker to do that. Houston needs to get that number off their books. If the guy doesn't want to be there, that immediately works against him. 2 guaranteed years and a player option can total $150 million. You think they want to be stuck there? Of course they don't. Of course they don't. The Knicks have a golden opportunity to cash in on this. Don't tiptoe around it. Don't feel it out. Aggressive. Get something done. And if they're asking for too much, you want to wait it out a little bit? Okay. Do it. Just don't get beat in a stupid way. Don't get beat by another team that was willing to give up a top 12 pick in the draft, and you weren't. Because if that happens and you end up with another French point guard, as many predict they might, you're going to regret it for a long, long time. Just use your brains. He's a great player. He'll attract other great players. You don't have any great players. That's 1, 2, 3 math. That's from A to B to C right there for you. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 800-919-3776. We will hit the phones in just moments on that. Do you want Westbrook, and would you give up the 8th overall pick for Russell Westbrook? We'll also take your comments on Twitter, at Chris Carlin. Your little tweet noise there. That's right. And we will, in addition, take your comments on the live stream as well, the video stream, which is on ESPN New York 98.7 Twitter handle and on ESPN New York's Facebook page as well. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, should they go get Westbrook if it costs them the 8th overall pick? It's a simple question. Should they do it? Come and answer it next. portion of Carlin 98.7 ESPN brought to you by the New Jersey Lottery. Mega Millions giving you 165 million reasons to take a chance. That's a whole lot of millions. In Jersey, one mega chance could be all it takes. So take a chance on Mega Millions because anything can happen in Jersey. 800-919-3776. As we said, you can also comment over on the stream as well, the video stream at ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter handle and on ESPN New York's Facebook page. First of all, Christopher Delaurier. I'm so nervous as a Knicks fan. No Westbrook. Why? I mean, why would you be nervous about that? You're afraid to give up draft picks? You're afraid to give up the number 8 overall pick? Big time checking in. Question is for the Knicks. If the Rockets ask for Barrett or Robinson, is that their deal breaker? Well, likely, yes. And the reason I would say that is because they are helping them out by taking the money off the books. But let's say if it was R.J. Barrett straight up for Russell Westbrook, would I do that? I would. It's not going to be. I absolutely would do that. Mitchell Robinson, I'd love to see Mitchell Robinson playing with Russell Westbrook. But again, they're doing them a favor. Remember that too, by taking the money. I would not let I would not let the 8th overall pick be the difference. I would not let Barrett be the difference. I might let Mitchell Robinson be the difference. Phil Rodriguez checking in. The Knicks are like the Jets, a pure mess. Kind of feels that way. And this idea that you're trying to build from within, we're finally doing it the right way, and we're drafting and we're developing. You can do all that, but you need somebody here to make you relevant too. And when you talk about doing it the right way, well, let's see. Did the Lakers do it the right way this past year? I mean, look at the NBA champions over the last 10, 12, 15 years. There's a couple of them that you could point to and say they did it the right way by developing and drafting their own guys. The San Antonio Spurs. Okay. They last won the championship how long ago? 2014. The Warriors before they got Durant. Okay. Besides that, talk to me about the Heat. Talk to me about the Cavaliers and the Warriors with Durant. The Raptors, they all went out and got big-time players. That's how you do it now. Calls, let's go. 800-919-3776. Jay in Springwood is up next. 98.7 ESPN. Big Jay, what do you got?
Hey, how are you guys?
I'm good. How you doing?
Outstanding. If this is not the reason why you get all these assets and all these draft picks, then what is? This is what I would do. I would give them both the draft picks we got from Dallas and Dennis Smith Jr., and then this would equate to what we got for KP. For KP, we got Russell Westbrook. I'll be fine with that. No more conversations about, we lost that trade. That trade was horrible. No, we got Russell Westbrook for KP.
Jay, you just brought up an interesting point in the middle of that. You used the phrase, we just lost that trade. That can't ever be the mentality of somebody trying to make a deal to make their team better. You can't ever worry about losing the trade, as you're pointing out.
100%, but that's what a lot of fans feel about the KP trade.
Oh, listen, the KP trade was a mess. It was a bad trade.
It was a mess.
But that was different. You were trading away the star player then. Now you're trying to trade to get the star player. Whenever you're on the receiving end of the superstar, you're doing the right thing.
I'm with you. I'm just saying.
Unless it's Carmelo Anthony.
I'm sorry?
Unless it's Carmelo Anthony.
100%. What I'm telling you is that for all those sore fans that are saying, we can't do this, it would be a mess. Like you said, when was the last time we had a player like Russell Westbrook? We haven't since Carmelo, maybe. And I don't think Carmelo, I don't know.
I don't think Carmelo was on that level. I don't think Carmelo was on that level at all. Absolutely not.
Agree. I just want to buy a jersey. I just want.
You're a simple man. You just want somebody that you can like wearing the uniform.
100%. Haven't bought a jersey since the number 7. This is sad.
Yeah. Appreciate the call. Thanks for checking in, Jay. It is. And it's about that. But what's the bigger picture out of that? It's relevance. It's people wanting to pay attention to you. It's not like the building's empty, but there aren't enough people watching the games. When was the last time they actually sat there and said, wow, outside of me for work, I have to watch the Knicks tonight? For me, sometimes it's like, I got to watch the Knicks tonight. More likely, it's that. More often, it's that. Jeff is in Staten Island. He's next. 98.7 ESPN. Jeffrey, how are you tonight, brother?
Carlin, I'm doing great. My first time actually getting a chance to speak with you. Big fan.
Thank you for checking in, man. Good to hear that.
But I have to disagree with you, man.
Okay.
I agree. I would get Russell Westbrook if we could give up the Dallas pick, the late first-round pick, but I wouldn't want to give up the first-round pick for him. I think it's too much of a gamble. I mean...
Well, but isn't the 8th overall pick, like in a draft that's not regarded as a terribly strong draft, isn't that kind of a big gamble? How is it a huge gamble to get an established star in the league for not the first overall pick, not the top 3, not a top 5, an 8th overall pick in the draft?
Let me explain, because you were talking about having a star that is going to make players want to come and play for the Knicks, but last I checked, I don't think guys are dying to play with Russell. They've been leaving him. KD left him. Paul George, his boy, left him. Him and Harden were best friends, grew up in the same area, couldn't play together.
Russell's the one who wants out from Harden.
But I'm assuming they didn't get along. He couldn't even play.
Well, no, they got along. When Harden left Oklahoma City, it was because Harden wasn't going to get paid. He got offered, that was back when he was only getting offered around $50 million. So he had 2 options: to take the money there or to go to Houston and get traded and get more money. So that's what he did. And now Westbrook wants out because Harden has run other guys out of town and clearly doesn't want to take a whole lot of responsibility for what's going on. Why did Paul George leave? He went to the Clippers because he thought there was going to be a much better chance to win with Kawhi Leonard at that point. And I can't blame him.
But Colin, look at like the history of the Knicks though. Ever since their last finals appearance, what do? Trade away first round pick after first round pick after first round pick.
But outside of Melo though, when they gave up entirely too much to get him, I mean they emptied their team to get him, because the owner made the trade and not Donnie Walsh. When they did that, that was a killer. They traded away a big-time player in KP. That was a mistake. When you trade away those picks and you're not on the receiving end of enough in return and the right player in return, yeah, that's where you have the point. I think we're talking about Westbrook here, who is a dynamic force in this league still.
I'd rather see them package that and get a Wiseman, Edwards, or Ball, potentially.
Well, but all right, what are you going to have to do to get Edwards or Ball at the top of the draft? To move up from 8 to 1, what are you doing? You're probably giving up 3 first-round picks. Would you agree?
We have to exchange 8 and maybe give up a Knox.
Kevin Knox ain't getting it done, brother. Now, I think if you're talking about doing it, you're talking about giving up the 8th pick, you're talking about giving up the 27th pick, and you're also talking about giving up the first of the 2 first-round picks next year to get from 8 to 1 or 2. At least, I think that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like the Russell thing, he comes and he'll be great. He'll generate excitement for the fan base. He'll get the triple doubles, but we'll still lose by 20.
I don't see it. I think that and thanks for the call, Jeff. I think he makes them immediately more attractive to other players. Immediately more attractive to other players, where other players could understand from the outside looking in that Russell Westbrook in New York City, if you go and play with him with the Knicks and you're dealing with the Nets across town, like it could be an incredibly exciting environment. And if you could ever bring the Knicks back, I mean, that's going to speak volumes about you and your career. You know, the player that actually ever has the guts to come here and play with another star and bring the Knicks back to glory, that guy is going to have a special place not only in this town, but in the NBA landscape. Because you will have turned a franchise around that has been a complete mess for nearly 20 years. John's in Clifton, New Jersey. John, what's cooking with you tonight?
Hey, I called the other night and somehow mysteriously my call just vanished. How are you tonight? Thanks for taking my call.
What, did I cut you off?
No. It was some kind of a mouthful.
Whatever. But you're here now.
But anyway, so here we go. It doesn't matter what any of the hosts say, what any of the callers say. Your buddy Hank last night was right. As long as the ownership of the Knicks and the Jets are in their little happy places, nothing will change. Nothing. They've both been rebuilding for 25 years. The Knicks have been rebuilding ever since Patrick Ewing left. The Jets basically have been rebuilding since Namath retired and so on and so forth. And it just perpetuated.
See, I don't buy this on the Jets, okay? I don't buy this on the Jets. I don't buy it when it comes to the Jets. And the reason is, the Jets, not 10 years ago, got to the AFC Championship 2 years in a row. The Jets were a place to be. Right, they didn't get the right quarterback, but they still got there. And my point is that it's not about, it is in this case about ownership, because Christopher Johnson, if he made the call on Adam Gase simply based on Peyton Manning calling him and thinking that Gase was impressive in the interview, it was silly. It was absolutely silly. But Joe Douglas right now, I'm telling you, John, Joe Douglas is a guy that if you just let him do his thing, the Jets are going to get there.
That's the problem. The Johnsons don't. The Johnsons want to be. They want to be in charge.
But I don't think you're going to see.
I tell you what. They even run their own companies. I don't think even their own family wants them there.
Look.
I mean, I wouldn't put them in charge of a lemonade stand. Come on.
Listen, I'm not defending them, John. All I'm telling you is I don't think that they're the only problem there. I think they've been a problem, but if you let Joe go and do the job and hire a coach and have the proper reporting structure, and it's not both guys reporting to the owner, then you're going to be okay. So that's what has to happen here moving forward once Gase gets fired.
And the Johnsons think they know what they're doing. You would think that they would step back and say, you know what? Maybe we don't have the right handle on this. Maybe we should let the expert.
Well, I hope that happens.
Apparently, under our regime, it's terrible.
John, I hope that happens. Thanks for the call. I hope that happens this coming year. When they fire Gase, which he's getting fired, he's only staying in place right now to make sure they get the number one pick. I'm fully convinced of that. I mean, you need to tank. Who's going to out-Gase Adam Gase? I mean, Belichick tried to do it the other night. The man has won 6 Super Bowls. He can't out-Gase Gase. You don't out-Gase Adam Gase. No. If that's the case for Gase, frankly, keeping him on the job this season is now worth it. If you're going to guarantee that number one pick, it's now worth it. The point here is if they structure this properly, if they let the guy hire a coach and they have the structure that they should, with the coach reporting to the GM and not the owner, then they're going to have a much better chance of success. And I know that there are other teams around the league that have this. That doesn't matter. It's not working here. I agree on that front. When you don't let people do their jobs, when you get in the way and you're an owner, and you have obviously gotten to the owner one of two ways, gotten to be an owner one of two ways. You inherited a team, or you inherited the money to buy a team, or you made the money to buy a team. And in either way, you think you're pretty smart, right? Especially if you earned all the money, you are pretty smart. But you have to also realize what is not your strength. That's what people are not good at. I would let, if I had that money and I had that team, I would let the people I am paying do their jobs. And I give them time. And if they don't get results in that amount of time, I find somebody else. And I empower them to do their jobs. That's what the Jets have to do. That's what the Knicks have to do. That's what hopefully the Mets are about to do. Perfect example. Jeff Wilpon had no business being in any baseball decision, being involved in that at all. Just always remember, never forget, #never forget. Jeff Wilpon traded for Victor Zambrano. Remember that. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 831-800-919-3776. We're flying. Phones are flowing. I'm loving it. Keep them coming on Twitter as well, at Chris Carlin. You can comment on the live stream. In addition, on ESPN New York 98.7 FM's Twitter handle, and also on ESPN New York's Facebook page. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. Up next, why exactly this weekend is so important for the Jets and Giants to really pay attention. We'll talk about that in moments. Stick with us. all. That's a huge mistake. Number two, he's 35 years old, and there's not a lot left on the tires. Can we agree on that? I mean, it's not that hard to see. Really, it's not that hard to see. Secondly, it shouldn't be a scare tactic. Westbrook is still an excellent player at 32 years old. He can be a lot more of a centerpiece now than Chris Paul can. What does Chris Paul do for the Knicks right now? Nothing. Nothing. I understand that he had just a great playoff run. Does Chris Paul make the Knicks a team that's going to go win 40 games? Or 35? No, he doesn't. Westbrook might on his own. And then somebody else who buys into what he's doing may want to come here and help him out. Boy, it's dumb if they're trying to get him on the cheap. And it's not, I'm not talking about giving up a fortune, but let's just say that the difference between getting him and not getting him is the willingness to give up the 8th overall pick. Do it. You're going to go take Killian Hayes, another French point guard. Please. Go see what Frederick Weiss is doing, for Pete's sake. Anthony in Paramus is next on 98.7 ESPN. Anthony, what do you got?
Hey, Carlin, big fan.
Thanks, Anthony.
Was just wondering, I'm not opposed to the Westbrook trade for the right price. Who do you pair up with him if you're the GM?
Well, I have to wait and see how that plays out a little bit. I don't think it's going to happen right away. I'd be surprised if it happened right away because it's not a great NBA free agent list this offseason. I mean, you're obviously, if you're getting Westbrook, you're obviously not going to go get Fred VanVleet. So, you know, when we look at the list of free agents this offseason, you know, it's not great. Is Giannis leaving? No, I don't think so. You know, there are guys who have opt-outs. I don't think that's going to happen. Oladipo, I wouldn't get Oladipo.
What concerns me is if the idea is getting the freak, I don't think we're in any position to say no to the freak.
Oh, I don't think you'll have a chance to say yes to the freak. If Antetokounmpo wants to come here, you do whatever you have to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
But his skill set and Westbrook's skill set, you're talking about a lack of shooting, a big lack of shooting.
Well, that's why you would go get some other shooters. Okay, in that case, you would go get some guys that would help you out in that regard. And to me, you could easily do that and get guys who are 3-and-D type guys. You know, then I'm not going to get too nuts about it. You know, but they're not going to get Giannis and Westbrook. They're not going to be that fortunate. That's not going to happen.
We can dream. Thanks,
you can.
Carlin.
You can. Dreaming sucks, though, if we're being honest. Yes or no, Tony? Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Richard Miller chiming in with a comment on the video stream. Knick fans are impatient. Yeah, that's the word I would use for Knick fans. Impatient. Richard, come back to me, please. Jesus wants to know, what needs to be done to get Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks? I think that Jim Dolan would have to buy the Utah Jazz, fold the organization, and put the players on his roster. How about that? I don't think Donovan Mitchell's coming here. And I know he's a New York kid. I'd love to see it happen, but it sounds like he wants to stay out there even after all the drama that took place leading into COVID-19, as we know. He was not happy about that situation. 800-919-3776. Mo is in Rhode Island next, 98.7 ESPN. Mo!
Hey, what's up, Carlin?
Mo, how you doing?
I wasn't calling about this, but I think this is a big test for the new guys on the Knicks. Because if they play their cards right and try to get Westbrook, it seems like a no-brainer. So
agreed on that.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, and then we can make our predictions on whether it'll work out or not. But I called because I have a suggestion on baseball, how to speed up the game and make it a little more entertaining.
Okay.
bigger fields so the ball stays more in play with higher outfield walls. That's my first suggestion. That way there's more balls in play, and you'll see people run around the bases. My second suggestion is offensive and defensive players, like in the NFL. Like, you don't have Tom Brady playing free safety, you know. I feel like you'll see a lot of great defensive plays. You'll see the best hitters. You'll see speed because people want faster base runners, and it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I don't buy it as much because they believe that they're better off trying to build the offense through the home run and build the excitement through the home run.
You'll still have the home run, but only the guys who can hit the home runs will be hitting home runs rather than everybody hitting the home runs.
Yeah, if you're gonna make it more to the pitcher's benefit, it's going to, and I hate it because I like the fact that pitchers, when pitchers pitch well, it's fun to watch. But I think if you're making the ballpark a lot bigger, it does benefit the pitcher.
Well, I think it doesn't benefit the pitchers because now, if you have more field to hit on, like there'll be more places to place the ball. But the big thing, the reason why I would offer this suggestion to the major leagues is you don't change the sport. You don't change the innings. You don't put a shot clock. You don't do none of that stuff. You just put the best players on defense on the field, the best players on offense batting, and you just have the ball in play more often.
Look, I get what you're saying, Mo. I just don't think they're going to go that route. And thanks for the call. I think it's more likely that they want to see more power, that they want to see a lot more runs scored. And I don't think they're going to see it the way that you're talking about it. I mean, think about where those kind of ballparks that you're talking about exist, right? Oakland. Oakland was viewed as a graveyard for home run hitters for a long time until like the Bash brothers came along and, they were doing it illegally. And they made it so much bigger. And I'm not talking about foul territory. I'm talking about fair territory. It's a huge ballpark. The big parks benefit the pitchers a lot more, and that's not what they're looking to do, unfortunately. And that's why pitchers are getting downplayed across the game. They don't want to pay starting pitchers the level of money that they're getting paid because they're trying to, analytics want to downplay that. So unless it's a super ace like, Garrett Cole, they don't want to be paying the fourth and fifth starters $12 and $15 million a year. They have no interest in doing that. So that's why analytics have helped them make the case to have relievers and pay them less money. Look, bigger ballparks benefit pitchers. That's all there is to it. And that's not likely to happen. Michael K. commenting on the stream. Hi, Michael. Saying that I'm handsome. You need proof? There he is. Handsome. Thank you. I know. And his next comment, please acknowledge me. It's like me when I text him during the show. Please acknowledge me. I'm begging for attention. 800-919-3776. Open lines and next, your locks of incompetence. NFL picks 10-8 this year, and it's a lower number of games that we've picked because we were off a few weeks and all that. But the point is this. By having absolutely no factual basis in anything relating to the games this season, as so many other times I have tried to come up with all the logical reasons that teams win and lose, and it has always had me losing at ridiculous clips at making picks. This season, I have chosen to just pick the most ridiculous fact about either city involved in the game, and I have a winning record. So that's what we will do tonight. And we'll do it in just moments at 800-919-3776. That next. Listen, I would advise you to listen and watch only if you're interested in winning. That's just me. If not, go somewhere else. If you want money, listen to me. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. More football at the top of the hour. Why this weekend is the most important weekend for the Jets and Giants to actually pay attention to something and to avoid the pitfalls of another franchise. That in just moments. 800-919-3776. My history of picking games has not been a good one. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So this year I have taken it to a whole new level with a segment that I call Locks of Incompetence, and here's how it works. In making my picks this year,
He's tried.
we'll play it again in a sec, that's my bad. Gave him a false cue, as we say in the biz. Good job by me, Jacob, sorry. Here's how Locks of Incompetence works. We just simply take the most ridiculous fact that we can find about a city in a particular matchup, and we select our winner based on that. Let's say, for instance, you're going to look at the Buffalo-Arizona game. Well, I would take the most ridiculous fact that I could find out about, Phoenix or Buffalo, and I would say, I like this one, and that's why this team's going to win. I'm 10-8 this season. I have a winning record doing this. So there's really no reason for you not to write this down unless you're interested in winning. So, without further ado, as I give a non-false cue, the right cue, sorry that it all happened like this, not enough O's and smooth, but my bad. The Locks of Incompetence. Hit it! Sorry about that.
He's tried everything. Analysis, instinct, facts, coin flips, magic 8 balls, Scientology. If picking NFL games is right, you can count on him to be wrong. It's time for Carlin's Locks of Incompetence.
That's a spicy meatball. It's pretty simple. We pick 3 games. The Jets, the Giants, and a third game. Since we have no Jet game this weekend, we will pick the Giants and 2 other games. So we start with the Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles at MetLife Stadium Sunday. The Giants, according to our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook, are getting 4 points. Did you know that 25% of the population of the United States is located within a 5-hour drive of the city of Philadelphia? That's right. Eagles -4 over the Giants. Next game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers are 5.5-point favorites. Did you know that the Cuban sandwich was actually invented in Tampa? Bucks -5.5. Game number 3. The aforementioned Buffalo Bills visiting the Arizona Cardinals. The Bills are getting 2.5 points. Did you know, my friends, that due to state laws, a fine of $25 can be issued for flirting in public on the Buffalo streets? Good thing I didn't go to college in Buffalo. Bills +2.5. Those, your locks of incompetence for this week 10 in the NFL. Once again, a winning record at 10-8 on the season. Take a deep breath and collect your cash. 800-919-3776. Open lines. Why next? It is so important for the Giants and the Jets to watch the other quarterback on the field Sunday. That's next.